Hello guys, welcome back to our anime moment. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Battle Through the Heavens 2. Rebirth of Emperor Yang Part 32 based on novel. So let's start. Drink. Clan pattern is now. The heart sends out a violent drink. In Xiao Yan's body, the silent 10-year-old fighting emperor's blood finally erupts again today. The mysterious ancient clan patterns reappeared in the center of Xiao Yan's eyebrows and integrated with the fire seal, which seemed even more mysterious. At the moment when the clan pattern appeared, a magnificent momentum full of vicissitudes and ancient meanings also spread from Xiao Yan's body, making the boundless sky tremble. The breath of Henggu is really terrible. Even now, it still scares the world. It can be imagined how powerful human beings in Henggu are. The purple and golden DODI's blood vessels rose rapidly in the blood vessels in Xiao Yan's body, and a powerful and pure force gushed out of it and ran in Xiao Yan's body. In the blood vessels, the purple and golden DODI's blood vessels also condensed into a purple and golden blood dragon in a moment. The blood dragon walked rapidly through Xiao Yan's blood vessels. Everywhere it passed, it was sprinkled with a purple and golden brilliance. This glory passed through Xiao Yan's blood vessels and integrated into the damaged internal organs and bones in Xiao Yan. In just a few moments, the bones and organs injured by the three Hall Masters have obviously recovered. The blood dragon, however, was full of momentum and flashed and unexpectedly came to the cyclone in Xiao Yan's body. The blood dragon's rapid circling also made the cyclone in Xiao Yan's body run involuntarily. The burning formula skill runs at an unprecedented speed. Xiao Yan from the outside also looked a little changed. His eyes glanced at the turbulent energy of heaven and earth as if it were a deep-sea wave because his fighting emperor's blood was stimulated. He couldn't help passing a touch of surprise in the depths of his eyes. Is DODI's blood so strong? Even Xiao Yan's strength can bring such a huge momentum. It's no wonder that the 8 ancient tribes paid so much attention to the power of blood. Fighting emperor's blood is really terrible. When the mind moved, the different fire in the body swept out in an instant, completely wrapping Xiao Yang in it, and all those heaven and earth energy were included in the cyclone in the body by Xiao Yang under the terrorist refining of the different fire. Just for a moment, the empty cyclone in Xiao Yang's body was replaced by the pure fighting spirit again. At this time, Xiao Yang's strength has reached the position of 4-star and half emperor, but even so, Xiao Yang's breath is still rising sharply. The rising breath also tells Xiao Yang that the end of the breath is far from here. When Xiao Yang inspired the fighting emperor's blood in his body, in a brilliant hall tens of thousands of miles away from here, the holy blood crystal condensing the fate of the whole Xiao family suddenly emitted dazzling golden light at this moment, which made the already brilliant hall shine like a glass fairy palace. In the golden moment, a figure wrapped in the black robe also appeared quietly in front of the holy blood crystal. Under the black robe, the pair of sharp old eyes also burst out a touch of amazing light. This is the blood power in the body inspired by the man. So it seems that the man may have met a great enemy. Occasionally, the man under the black robe muttered to himself in a slightly hoarse old voice. Judging by his voice, the old man was the elder who ordered Xiao Mingyuan to leave the family. However, at the moment, the elder seemed worried and inspired the power of blood for no reason. The only explanation was that he had encountered great difficulties. However, he had to stimulate the blood of the emperor in his body to ensure his safety. Old three, I still can't find that person after leaving the family for such a long time. You really have a little too much fun this time. The elder's eyes reflected a bright golden light. His eyes stared at the holy blood crystal until after the good film was carved, he whispered angrily. Someone. A low cry came from the hall, but for a moment, a dark figure appeared on the side behind the great elder without warning, with one hand on the ground, kneeling on one knee and silent. Although he was behind the elder, he seemed to be in front of the elder. He didn't pay much attention. The elder directly said, "Go find Xiao Mingyuan and tell him to find the man quickly. If you can't find him in the middle region, you'll find him in the south region. If you can't find him in the south region, then find all the regions and states for me. Anyway, you must find the man for me." A burst of angry words came out, but it made the kneeling people tremble. They also knew in their hearts that the elder was really angry this time. "Dare not neglect," the man nodded slightly, then his body flashed again and quickly fled out of the hall. In the main hall, the elder stood still again for a long time, and his body gradually became illusory and quietly disappeared in the main hall. The lord of the third hall stared at Xiao Yang with both eyes, and there were amazing colors in his eyes. Xiao Yang's means at the moment unexpectedly increased his Numenon strength by 2 stars. First there is the destruction of fire, and then there is the power of blood. If these two are excited at the same time, what a terror it will be. I'm afraid just thinking about it will make people feel cold all over. Just for a moment, Xiao Yang's strength was as weak as before, and his momentum rushed into the sky like a rainbow. One's strength can break the sky in an instant. It's even better than the remaining poison old ghost in his peak state. Xiao Yan roared up to the sky. A pillar of fire with a width of 100 feet shot out of Xiao Yang's mouth, went through the void and stabbed into the endless void, making the space fluctuate. When Xiao Yang turned his head, he saw that the pair of dim eyes had disappeared. At the moment, it was a pair of flame eyes with dazzling firelight. After a little rotation, the strange fire of Lingtian floated out of Xiao Yang's flame eyes and burned the sky. The third hall master was even more surprised when he saw this scene. How dare he let Xiao Yang continue? His body moved, and the thick black fog rippled all over his body. In a flash, it already appeared outside the strange fire around Xiao Yang. Bluff. I will bring you back to my sect today. Xiao Yang, don't try to struggle. Come and see me. Heaven Devil's Palm. The third hall lord struck out with a palm, and a terrible black fog surged out. The Chinmore palm sacrificed by the third hall lord also rose again to meet the storm. In an instant, it turned into a huge palm with hundreds of feet, covering the sky and blocking the sun, and took a hard shot at Xiao Yang. Xiao Yang also glanced at the devil's palm, which he shot hard at himself with his flaming eyes. He gave a cold hum in his nose and a sneer in the corners of his mouth, saying, "Bluff? In my opinion, this is called bluff, but it's just a waste of its appearance." Without waiting for the response of the third hall lord, Xiao Yang's body turned and his fighting spirit gushed out quickly. The different fire also spread on Xiao Yang's palm in an instant. One palm was the devil's palm that day towards the third hall lord. Yellow spring palm. A palm print the size of a human palm flew out. Where the Huangquan palm passed, the space suddenly collapsed, and a dark and profound void space appeared behind the Huangquan palm. The Huangquan palm, with Lingtian's power, blasted the third hall lord's magic palm. When the two touched each other, the Tianmo palm only supported for a few seconds. It burst in a roar, and Xiao Yang also moved at the moment. With a flash of body shape, he appeared in front of the three-hall lord and hit the front door of the three-hall lord with a fist. 8-level collapse. The flame arm covered with different fire roared past. The skinny cheek of the three-hall lord also felt a burning pain. He didn't dare to underestimate it in his heart. His body retreated violently, and one punch was to meet Xiao Yang's flame fist. Heaven Devil Fist. In the twinkling of an eye, his fists were already roaring together. Xiao Yang was suddenly shocked, and a strong force in his body suddenly poured out of his fist and roared towards the three-hall lord. Naturally, the three-hall leader was not careless. His fighting spirit poured out and gathered on his fist, trying to resist Xiao Yang's fierce and overbearing fist. However, it's a pity that Xiao Yang, who is at the peak at the moment, has far more strength than before. Relying on the strength of the three-star semi-emperor alone, Xiao Yang can fight with the three halls in full swing. Now the strength is Xiao Yang, who has reached the 5-star and half emperor. Even the three-hall lord has the strength of 8-star and half emperor to protect himself, but don't forget that Xiao Yang's physical strength is really terrible. The two complement each other. With all their strength, can the three temple lords compete? Drink. A mantis arm is a cart. Get out of here. 8-level collapse. Explosion. Boom. An earth-shaking roar resounded through the heaven and earth. At this moment, even the heaven and earth can no longer bind the two people. The battle between the two people is beyond the control of heaven and earth. The roar sent out, and the figure of the three-hall lord fell like a meteorite and fell again towards the endless abyss. If you want to return, do you really think you can return? Xiao Yan's nose gave a cold hum, and his whole body suddenly shook again. Behind him, the gorgeous fire suddenly condensed. In just a moment, it turned into a pair of gorgeous flame wings. At the same time, the body of the three-hall lord, who was still falling at a high speed, suddenly gave a meal in the air. Then he turned into a human flesh shell and rushed away 9 days away. Just looking at his appearance, he looked embarrassed. Come again. 8-level collapse. Bang! Bang! Just for a moment, the three-hall lord, who was still fierce before, was beaten by Xiao Yan like a dead dog. He didn't know how many bones were broken, and his blood poured into the world like rain. It seemed that people felt a burst of cold in their hearts. But even so, he was still trying to dodge Xiao Yan's bombardment. Even on his twisted blood face, he showed a malicious smile, which made people feel very strange. Bang! It was another bang. Xiao Yan's fist blew the three-hall lord thousands of miles. His body flashed again, but he appeared in front of the three-hall lord, with his hands behind him. A pair of eyes full of bright flames also looked at the three-hall lord calmly, and raised a sneer at the corners of his mouth without saying a word. The three-hall lord was also covered with blood, and his body suddenly shook. The black fog that lingered all over his body was immediately absorbed into his body, and he laughed wildly, and then he looked at Xiao Yan. Jie, Yan Emperor Xiao Yan, you are wise all the time, but only today, you are confused for a while. I just ate the loss in your hand, but you ate it for the second time. In the eyes of the Lord of the Three Halls, he was murderous and tyrannical. A pair of dark old eyes were full of crazy staring at Xiao Yan and said with crazy laughter, "Oh, you've suffered a loss. I've suffered it for the second time? I don't know what to say." The light in Xiao Yan's eyes flickered, and his mouth lightly took a playful smile. With a smile on his face, he looked at the three-hall lord and asked slowly. When the third hall lord heard the speech, his eyes looked even more rampant, as if Xiao Yan was already in his bag. Jie, Xiao Yan, do you really think that now I am an 8-star-and-half emperor of the Tang dynasty, how can I be suppressed like this by your 5-star-and-half emperor? Xiao Yan did not speak, but quietly looked at the three-hall lord. He knew that the three-hall lord would answer for him. You are wrong. With my strength, I dare not say I will catch you with one hand, but if I really give me enough time, I can do it. And you just gave me this time. Before the words fell, the palms of the three-hall masters slowly lifted up, and a mysterious seal knot suddenly appeared in their palms. Looking at this seal formula, it is the mysterious soul-devouring palm played by the Yang Devil Old Ghost. Jie, this palm technique is meant to be a high-level fighting skill. Although I'm weak and can't exert it completely, if I exert it with all my strength, I'm determined not to be inferior to the high-level fighting skill. Xiao Yan, anyway, you will be planted in my hands today. When Xiao Yan heard the speech, his face still looked very calm. Is he a high-level fighting skill? He seems to have one. Moreover, if you really say it, the human-level advanced fighting skills that turn fighting skills into spirits are not comparable to ordinary human-level advanced fighting skills. With a faint smile, Xiao Yan's lost palm slowly closed in front of his chest. Once the palm turned over, a flaming fire lotus appeared in Xiao Yan's palm. Because there is no nothingness swallowing inflammation, those fused different fires have become a substitute for nothingness swallowing inflammation. In this way, the power of the Buddha anger lotus should be no less than the four-color fire lotus of that day. And because it is a combination of a variety of different fires, in this way, it can't be said that the power of this fire lotus will be more powerful than before. When the third hall lord saw the fire lotus in Xiao Yan's palm, the originally rampant face was filled with a touch of horror. Unexpectedly, while he was calculating Xiao Yan was also using him to calculate himself. However, this thought lasted only for a moment and was completely suppressed by the three-hall lord. On his frightened face, he regained his arrogance again. He looked disdainfully at the fire lotus in Xiao Yan's palm, raised a sneer at the corners of his mouth and said coldly, "Xiao Yan, what terrible preparation I think you have. Originally, it's just a Buddha anger lotus comparable to the low-level fighting skills of human level. Jie, if so, you will not be able to escape my hand today." Xiao Yan was still indifferent to this, and then the next moment, there was a sense of erasure in his eyes when he looked at the three-hall lord. With one palm, he pushed the fire lotus out of his hand to the three-hall lord, and said with a sneer, "I don't know until I see you. Let me see. Your advanced fighting skill, Xianming soul-eating palm, can have some power." The lord of the third hall was very confident at the moment. He was naturally not afraid of Xiao Yan's action. He raised a sneer at the corners of his mouth. The cruel and murderous intention in his eyes quickly emerged. One palm was to display the dark soul-devouring palm in his hand and rush towards Xiao Yan's Buddha anger lotus. "Since you are so anxious to die, I will help you." The palm-sized Xianming soul-devouring palm soared rapidly in this void space. Just in a flash, it turned into a giant palm of Lingqian again and bombarded Xiao Yan. Xiao Yan doesn't care about this, but looks a little dignified at the Buddha anger lotus that has flown out. Since last time, Xiao Yan has been very clear that his control over the Buddha anger lotus can only break out before the third wave of bombardment. Even Xiao Yan in this state must not escape. Therefore, the only thing worthy of Xiao Yan's attention in the field at the moment is not the Lord of the Three Halls, nor the Xianming soul-eating palm, but the destructive Buddha anger lotus created by Xiao Yan himself. In an instant, the distance between the Buddha's anger lotus and the Xianming soul-devouring palm was no more than a few feet. Both of them were human advanced fighting skills. The void space they passed had already turned into a dark and deep darkness. The sky was also constantly trembling and roaring under the terror of the two. Within a radius of 10,000 miles, it was dead and lifeless. The Muling had already left here and disappeared. Next, he only looked at Xiao Yan and the three-hall lord. Two kinds of super fighting skills erupt together. If one is careless, although the two are strong in the Tang dynasty, they are still bound to die. Therefore, today's war depends on fate. In an instant, the sky was covered by a dazzling white orn, that is, even in the mountains and forests tens of thousands of miles away, it was illuminated by the white light and could not be looked at directly. And those people in the city felt a terrible threat. Even those who had been in high positions for a long time were creeping on the ground in fear, and the atmosphere did not dare to go out. At this time, on the side of the sky where Xiao Yan and the three-hall lord are located, there is a sudden roar through the sky, and then you see a terrible flame wave sweeping into the whole sky. Even with the strength of the three-hall lord at the moment, you can't be spared by a blow. With a puff, the blood in the mouth of the three main halls gushed wildly, and the body couldn't help shooting back. The whole person's momentum was listless at this moment. But this is not over yet. A wave of flame waves has not completely swept away, but another wave blows out again. This time, the three-hall lord really had nothing to say. The second attack was to bombard his chest again. Boom! Another wave of wildly fierce flame waves swept away, and the whole heaven and earth was in a kind of blazing heat. All forms were transformed into a vacuum nothingness. After the third wave, the third hall lord finally turned into a serious injury. As long as the last wave completely swept through, the third hall lord will completely disappear on this continent. Roar? Damn it! I'm not willing. Xiao Yan, the Yan Emperor. Today, even if I die, I must take you. Drink. With a roar, the body of the three-hall lord expanded rapidly, followed by an earth-shaking roar, and another wave of painted black horror energy swept away, pounding with the fourth wave of flame wave of the Buddha anger lotus. The 8-star-and-a-half emperor's all-out self-explosion, such prestige, is really beyond his reach. Even if the fourth wave of Buddha's anger lotus completely broke out, it was still broken by the sacrifice blow of the three-hall lord. In an instant, at the cost of exchanging lives of the three-hall masters, Xiao Yan's attack on the Buddha angry lotus was finally completely suppressed by the three-hall masters, but the sky turned into a dark nothingness for a long time. 2 months later, the southwest border, the wild ancient city. Standing outside the wild ancient city, Xiao Yan stared at the ancient city made of a whole mysterious rock from a distance. The endless flow of people went in and out of the gate like ants. When he looked carefully, he could find that these people always entered more and came out less. Are these people here for the herbalist meeting? I don't know. How strong are the herbalists here? Xiao Yan looked at the ancient city full of eternal flavor with an indifferent smile. He murmured in a low voice. His body moved and flew away towards the wild ancient city. Up to now, Xiao Yan can be regarded as fully controlling the small success of Tianjuabu wind. If Xiao Yan completely explodes his own speed, I'm afraid he will be able to meet the General 7-star and half Emperor without fear. And if you meet the 6-star and half Emperor, with all your strength, it's not certain that Xiao Yan can forcibly kill him. It can be seen how terrible it is that day. Just a small success in the wind can make Xiao Yan a small 3-star half Emperor who can face the 7-star half Emperor. What a terror it will be if he really practices this day to a great success. Step on the power of heaven and break the sky. I'm afraid this sentence is not just casual. A moment later, Xiao Yan walked among the crowd like a tide in the wild ancient city. As the medicine refining masters meeting became closer and closer, all the outstanding people from these places began to gather towards the wild ancient city. Xiao Yan will not pay much attention to these things. When Xiao Yan comes to this wild ancient city, his first task is to find the tool refiner mentioned by Luo Jin as soon as possible. In Xiao Yan's heart, he just wants to repair his mysterious ruler. In Xiao Yan's opinion, other things are not important. Of course, leaving the southern region can also be regarded as a major event in Xiao Yan's heart. After all, no matter where Xiao Yan went or how far he repaired the Xian heavy ruler, if Xiao Yan didn't have enough strength, then the collapse of the Xian heavy ruler was just a matter of time. These, however, are not what Xiao Yan wants to see. Thinking like this in his heart, Xiao Yan's pace at his feet was also a little faster unconsciously. In a moment, I came to the urban area of the wild ancient city. Here, the noise was heard all the more. Under the exploration of Xiao Yan's soul power, the general strength of the monks here is much better than that of Qingyang City. Here, the monks with the lowest strength are also comparable to Shengshou in the mainland. They are all in the rank of fighting the emperor. Among them, there is even the existence of Dozone. Even the Dozuan strong enough to dominate Qingyang City is still like an ordinary person here. Moreover, even the breath of fighting the saint and the strong, under Xiao Yan's exploration at the moment, there are no less than dozens of such strength which can really be regarded as a very good force on the mainland border. In Xiao Yan's eyes, these are nothing, but if you think about them with a little heart, you can find that this is just the most barren place in the mainland. People's strength has generally reached the level of fighting the emperor, and even compared with the 3 valleys in the mainland. Speaking of the 3 valleys, Xiao Yan thought of the Burning Valley at this moment. In retrospect, his ancestor Xiao Xian had already told him that in ancient times, the Burning Valley was also one of the top forces in the mainland. Burning Valley, but it was once a strong man fighting the emperor. Although they were ignorant at that time and didn't know that the so-called fighting emperor in their mouth was only a half emperor in Yuanwu continent, anyway, it also shows that in ancient times, the people who burned Yangu also came to this Yuanwu continent, but now I don't know whether they can still meet them. With a sigh in his heart, Xiao Yan smiled slightly at the corners of his mouth. If he had fate, he would meet everything. Why should he be anxious? Back to his mind, Xiao Yan was about to continue to walk forward, but his body shape was abrupt, his eyebrows were also slightly wrinkled unconsciously, his body shape turned slowly, and his eyes also looked at a building beside him. This building is tower-shaped and antique. At a glance, it makes people jump out of their hearts. He who has wealth speaks louder than others. This attic is impressively built of good black iron wood. In its appearance, it has the boundary personally laid by the semi-emperor Strong. If someone really wants to break through, I'm afraid it's impossible without the real strength of fighting the emperor. The light in Xiao Yan's eyes flickered, and his eyes moved down slowly. Finally, he stopped his eyes on the plaque above the courtyard. On the plaque, there are 3 big words, Cloud Hidden Pavilion, with great momentum. When Xiao Yan first glanced at the three big characters, his eyes were slightly frozen. Among the three big characters, it seemed that there was a kind of giant power. Even with his current strength, before it was small, just like an ant. This cloud-hidden pavilion is another behemoth. With a slight change in his look, Xiao Yan's eyes quickly moved away from the plaque, because after a little surprise, he stabilized his mood, moved his body, and strode towards the cloud-hidden pavilion. Xiao Yan felt that there might be something he needed here. As soon as I set foot in the cloud pavilion, the noisy voice outside suddenly became quiet at the moment. The cloud pavilion is like another world. Xiao Yan doesn't mind this. This kind of thing is too used to him, but the only thing he's not used to is that the light in front of him becomes dim when he steps on the cloud-hidden pavilion. Habitually slightly narrowed his eyes for a while. Xiao Yan took a deep breath and put everything in the cloud-hidden pavilion into his eyes. In reply, Xiao Yan immediately smelled a very strong smell of Dan incense. The thick smell of Dan incense even formed clouds in the air, making the cloud-hidden pavilion look like a fairyland on earth at the moment. Xiao Yan could not help rubbing his nose, but even so, he couldn't help sneezing in the end. Such a strong smell of Dan incense is really unacceptable. I really don't know how these people can bear it. Such a strong smell of Dan can be ignored. With a little emotion in his heart, Xiao Yan also ignored it. Looking around, the spacious hall has been occupied by many transparent crystal counters. The counter is also filled with all kinds of medicinal materials, and at this moment, before these crystal counters, they have been surrounded by a large number of people. This hall is also divided into medicine area and pill area. However, in Xiao Yan's eyes, these medicinal herbs and pills that can be regarded as treasures are just third-rate goods that are despised at all. Casually looked at a few eyes, Xiao Yan's footsteps moved, and he walked towards the second floor. At the entrance of the stairs, Xiao Yan was blocked by two old people in front of him. Seeing that Xiao Yan was thinking of coming here, the two old men looked as if they were going to the second floor. The eyebrows on their faces also wrinkled slightly. Then they looked at Xiao Yan. One of the old men also showed a kind smile on his face and said to Xiao Yan, "If you want to go to the second floor, please also have the strength of the strong fighter of Dozong." Xiao Yan smiled faintly. He didn't know how many times he had experienced these rules. Naturally, he was very clear. The real good things of Union Pavilion must be upstairs. Without stopping, Xiao Yan's momentum really swept out suddenly, but the breath was weaker than usual, I don't know how many times. When the two old men felt the breath on Xiao Yan, their faces could not help but change slightly, and there was a surprised color in their eyes looking at Xiao Yan. It's really the first time for them to see such a young Dozong strongman in this wild ancient city. Yes, under the perception of the two old people's souls, the breath released by Xiao Yan at the moment is really the strong man of Dozong, but this is also what Xiao Yan intends to do. After all, if he really released his real breath strength, Xiao Yan could not be sure how much sensation it would cause. Moreover, the cloud-hidden pavilion is obviously not an ordinary force, and you'd better not do it too eye-catching. However, although Xiao Yan had no intention of attracting others' attention, when he released the breath of Dozong's strong man, there were several other monks of Dohuang rank who saw that he was going to the second floor and were still mocking him. At this moment, his face looked extremely bright. And many other people, at the moment, also pay attention to Xiao Yan, the young, Dozong, strong man. It's not that they haven't seen the strong Duzong at this age. Recently, this is a wild ancient city. There are indeed several strong Duzong in their 20s, but they are all children of famous aristocratic families. Just saying one can make everyone feel familiar with it, but Xiao Yan at the moment seems like an alternative. Xiao Yan naturally doesn't care too much about this. He nods and smiles at the two old people. The two old people also show a kind smile towards Xiao Yan. His body is slightly sideways, and Xiao Yan gives way. Immediately, Xiao Yan lifted his feet, moved his body, stepped into the stairway towards the second floor, and his body slowly disappeared in the sight of everyone. Once on the second floor, Xiao Yan's steps did not stop at all. Ignoring the strong fighters on the second floor, he kept walking and went straight to the stairway on the third floor. This time, Xiao Yang also didn't do any other polite actions. His internal momentum quickly rose to the level of Dozun. The breath belonging to Dozun's strong man suddenly swept towards the old man sitting cross-legged in front of the stairs. The old man frowned and wanted to stand up and stop Xiao Yang to warn him, but he suddenly felt the violent breath of fighting the powerful on Xiao Yang's body. On his old face, the look changed again, and the action he wanted to get up was forcibly pressed down. Looking at Xiao Yang in surprise, I kept thinking about when such a young fighter appeared in the wild ancient city. But Xiao Yang's face looked very flat. He didn't have the opportunity to look puzzled on the old man's face in front of him. As soon as he stepped on it, he stepped into the third floor in full view of the public. After Xiao Yang's body passed by the old man returned to his mind. He turned his head and looked at Xiao Yang's back slowly disappearing in his sight. His eyebrows were frowned. After a good film, he had to shake his head reluctantly, turn back and continue to sit in place and ignore it. As soon as he went to the third floor, Xiao Yang's action was the same as before. The momentum in his body suddenly rose and didn't stop until the Order of Fighting Saint. The elder who guarded the pavilion also sent Xiao Yang to the fourth floor with a smile under the surprised eyes of all the people after a long change in his eyes. After Xiao Yang and the old man disappeared, in the hall on the third floor, the fighting giants who looked more sparse than before could not help talking. In the southwest region, even some old people who have become famous for a long time can't help being a little surprised when they look at Xiao Yang. In this short moment, all the people outside the cloud-hidden pavilion heard of a young Dozong strongman, a young Dozuan strongman and a young Dosheng strongman. Although there are three people, when these people gather all the characteristics of the three people together, they immediately understand that the three people are the same person. The purpose of Xiao Yang's doing all this was guessed by these people, but to avoid some unnecessary trouble. However, it's a pity that Xiao Yang's intention seems to be counterproductive, which just makes more people know the existence of his number one anti-heaven character. As soon as he went to the fourth floor, Xiao Yang felt that the space in front of him was much empty. The people in the fourth floor were much less than those in the lower floors. However, if we want to talk about the strength of the people standing on the fourth floor, they can't be compared with those below, because among them, except for a few people, all the others are the strong ones. The strength of the strong man is the lowest requirement for going to the fourth floor. It can be seen from this that the power of the cloud-hidden pavilion is what kind of soul it is. Even those Dozuan strong men who usually receive all kinds of respect from the outside world can only listen and obey the rules here. Even if they are Dosheng strong men, from the moment, no one dares to think about the fifth floor on the higher floor. The strength of Union Pavilion can be seen only in these small things. Casually glanced at the stairs leading to the fifth floor. His eyes swept over the knee-crossed old man. Then Xiao Yang turned his eyes and looked at the counters at will. When Xiao Yang's eyes moved away from the old man's eyes, which had been slightly closed, slowly opened a gap and swept towards Xiao Yang in an instant. And in his eyes looking at Xiao Yang, there was also a touch of surprised light at the moment, and there was a little doubt in the depths of his eyes. Who is this son? He is young, but his accomplishments have reached the point of semi-emperor supremacy. Such talents are no worse than the little lord. It seems that it is necessary to talk to the little lord when there is a chance. The old man's eyes kept scanning Xiao Yang, and his heart was constantly thinking. Finally, after looking at Xiao Yang deeply again, the figure sitting in place slowly disappeared. Even the many fighting saints and strong men in this field were unaware of the slightest change. After the old man's body slowly disappeared, Xiao Yang turned his head and glanced at him at random. He crossed his legs forward and walked to a counter. If you can go up to the fourth floor, how can the people among you be small people? Naturally, the waiter is also extraordinary. Xiao Yang's steps have just moved. An old man with white hair and beard and dressed in a robe has already greeted him with a smile. Xiao Yang looks at his breath. The old man's strength has reached the realm of fighting saints, and the other waiters have their strength, it's the same as them. I want to have them. No one should dare to make trouble in this hall. At the moment, the emergence of Xiao Yang has already attracted the attention of the strong fighting saints. When the public saw that the man who had just come up was so young, they all showed a look of surprise, and there was a strong color of surprise flashing in their eyes. A strong fighter at this age can really be called an anti-heaven level. If Xiao Yan, who had only the breath of Dozun before, was enough to be summarized by the word demon, then Xiao Yan, whose breath is strong to the level of Do Saint at the moment, as only the word against the sky can barely discuss it. I just don't know what a wonderful expression will appear on these people's faces when they know that Xiao Yang's real strength is the Supreme Emperor. How can Xiao Yang's terrible talent be completely summarized only by the word against the sky? At the moment, when the people in the hall noticed the real fighting spirit of Xiao Yang, the people in the field also recorded Xiao Yang in their hearts. The terrorist talent revealed by Xiao Yang at the moment was enough to make them show their attention. Just at this age, the cultivation strength has reached such an adverse situation. If you really grow up in the future, isn't it another giant terrorist existence? And this, how can they not pay attention to Xiao Yang? However, compared with these, Xiao Yang, as the protagonist in the field at this time, did not pay any attention to it in his heart. His eyes were just on a counter in the field. He has been able to be completely sure that there is one thing he needs at the moment. This video will end here.